Out of 61 books that I read this year, there were some really special ones. So let me tell you all about them and maybe you'll find a new favorite book. Let's start off with a chunky boy, The Count of Monte Cristo. The Count of Monte Cristo is a story that follows a man's wrongful accusation and imprisonment, his adventure, and revenge. But it's much deeper, much more rich than just simple words can explain. If I would explain more, I'm worried that I would ruin it for you, and I want you to experience all of the juicy details because there's a lot of them. It's an incredibly written story. It's so well written. The characters are incredible. The story itself, from the beginning till the end, is impeccable. Trust me, it's impeccable. I know it seems very intimidating and it's extremely heavy, so don't buy it in a hardcover. Trust me, you're gonna regret it because this book hurt me physically while I was reading it because it's so heavy, but it's incredible. The characters are so well written. Everything is interwoven. If you have doubts about reading this book, you're not gonna regret it. Go for it. I loved it. It's one of my favorite books of the year. Not my favorite, but one of my favorites. It's a really, really good start of this list. Project Hail Mary. Okay, this is a completely different type of book. This is a sci-fi comedy and we are set in space. Our protagonist just wakes up and doesn't know anything. He figures out that he's actually on a spaceship and his crew is not with him anymore, if you get me. They are not alive. And through the book, he figures out that he's actually on a mission to save Earth from an energy-eating microbe or something like that. Even though there's a lot of scientific terms in the book, the writer explains all of them and it's very readable. It's not boring because it has a lot of science in the book. The characters are so lovable and you can bond with them so much and it's so funny. It made me laugh out loud and it made me kind of get more interested in the sci-fi genre. So if there's an inkling in you of trying something sci-fi, I think this is one of the best choices for you to start. Then Stargirl. I already did a review for Stargirl on my channel, but there's just I read it this year and it's I think it will be forever one of my favorite books in my life. It's just a book for all ages, all walks of life. It's incredible. It really touched me. I extremely enjoyed reading Stargirl. And we're following the story of a teenage boy whose name is Leo, and he goes to a school that everybody in that school is trying to be average, trying to fit in, trying to be normal. And then one day this special girl comes, which is not trying to do that. She is the complete opposite. She is standing out by her outfits, by her behavior, and a lot of people are noticing her because of that. So we go through lots of different experiences in this book. Young love, we go through ups and downs of popularity, and we understand how other people's opinions influence you and your way of acting and your behavior in general. I cannot express how beautiful this book is, and also I read the second part, which is also very nice, very beautiful, but the first book is just incredible. It's a type of book that will be ageless for me. The Girl Who Saved the King of Sweden. We are following our main character Nombeko's story. She is born poor and she is kind of destined for a short and not so eventful life. Through a lot of very strange circumstances, she gets kind of thrown into some very bad company and is made to work for really bad people. But her ridiculous intelligence saves her from all of these difficult situations. And trust me, when I say ridiculous intelligence, it's really ridiculous intelligence. Everything in this book is kind of over the top and made for humorous effect or just like this outrageous story. Nothing in this book, in my opinion, should be thought of as very, very serious. A lot of commentary on like social and political situations, but through a very funny, over-the-top story. The characters are kind of strange, and maybe for some people they would be annoying. I just took this book as humoristic commentary about the world, and I really, really enjoyed it. The next book is The Humans. The Humans is a story about an alien that comes to Earth, and he's on a mission that involves murder. He's from a utopian society, so when he comes to Earth, he's disgusted and shocked by people and wars and how they act towards each other. He's very confused about love or family or anything that is social, you know. But he is spending more and more time here and is introduced to all of these creations by humans. And then there's this question that comes to his mind, and that's, what if there's something more beneath the first impression of humans? It's so tender, like the story is beautiful. It talks about love, it talks about the human existence. To me, it's emotional. It really gives you a good insight for humans, like for what it means to be a human. The Book of Doors. If you're searching for a fantasy book this year, this is your book, trust me. Cassie, she works in like a coffee shop and is given by one of her favorite customers a book. And it's a book that leads her to an adventure. That book that she is given, it makes any door, every door. And I know it sounds like a riddle, but trust me, read it, you're gonna get it. So the book is magical. She finds out that there's more books that are magical in the world, and some good and bad people are searching for them. She and her friend, because they have this book, are kind of in danger, and there's one person that can help them. His name is Drummond Fox, and he knows more about the books and has kind of a secret library. Together they are trying to figure out the situation, but the thing that is looming in the background, there's not just bad people, there is also evil. That evil is basically hunting them. It's a really well written story, very good world building, realistic characters. I really like the whole concept. I just love when a book is about a book. It's a really good fantasy book. The Measure. One morning, all across the world, every human received a wooden box with a length of string in it. How long the length of the string is, that's the length of your life, basically. And nobody knows where they come from, but they are correct. With this new information, we get to see lots of different stories inside of the book of other people's experiences of how they are dealing with this new knowledge. And also through these people, we get to see how society itself is reacting to this kind of new change, new information. Basically, this book is a social experiment written through and thought through and imagined inside of a book. And I really liked how they did it. I don't think the idea was just good. I think the idea and the whole execution of the idea was very well done. The Ocean at the End of the Lane is my favorite book this year that I read. And because I am so thankful for this book, I'm gonna draw it as well. I want to give you a better feeling of the visuals of the book, and that's why I'm gonna just draw it as well. So while I talk about it, you can see how I imagined it. It's a story about a childhood forgotten but not lost. What does that mean? We are looking at the story through the eyes of our main character, who experienced this event when he was 7, on his 7th birthday. Now he's all grown up and trying to figure it out. So he starts remembering stuff, and we just go through exactly what happened when he was 7. It's a magical story. There's a lot of folk tales that are inspiring Neil Gaiman in it, but this story about childhood and how you experience all of these magical and mystical and tough situations throughout childhood are not sugar-coated. They're real. They're rough. And I really liked it. I like this sense of the real world, even in the fantasy world itself. Neil Gaiman gave us a taste of this old magical world, but also with that comes the bitterness of playing with magic, which I think in modern stories is forgotten. And I really like this because I think it's more realistic. It's a story that shows us a world through a child's eye. It's a story about friendship. It's a story about the truth behind being brave and the consequences of being brave. I really like this reality of him showing us what it means to be brave. And I don't want to ruin anything for you, so if you wish to understand what I'm talking about, try to read the book. I mean, not try. If you start, I am guaranteeing that you're gonna finish because it's an incredible story. As all of Neil Gaiman's books, it's a little bit creepy, but in the same way, it's very magical. It made me fall into the ocean with it, and it left a permanent mark. And if you read the book, you're gonna get the reference. It's a very beautiful book, but it's for adults. It's not for young children. So if your child is under the age of 13, I don't recommend reading this book to them or giving them this book to read. It's definitely a Neil Gaiman story that we know and love and sometimes just wanna fall into it and be in this world for a while. So those are all of my favorite books. And at the end of this year, I was going through a lot of stuff and I was thinking like, am I even a reader? Like this year, a reading was not that impactful. But then when I sat down to write this video, this list, and I remembered all of these beautiful books, it reminded me that this year was a very magical year for me. Even though I read less than usually, all of these books that I mentioned are very special to me. So I'm very happy that I did it because it reminded me of my love for books and literature. Let me know what are your favorite books this year, and I'm always searching for some recommendations. So go ahead and write some if you want in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!